minutes and 45 seconds. Very short matchup, but in all honesty, can't really blame them for that. They already made Brock Lesnar look like a fool like twice, so it just made sense for Goldberg to pay his dues. Brock Lesnar hit 10 German suplexes. We see Goldberg hit like maybe 5 spears and a jackhammer. Goldberg hit a spear through the barricade, and then he speared his head almost into a turnbuckle. Brock Lesnar hits 1 F5, 1, 2, 3. Brock Lesnar wins the WWE Universal Championship. Very interesting matchup, but it's a lot better than people really give it credit for, so there's that. Next matchup was the 6-pack challenge for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. Naomi defeating Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Carmella, Mickie James, and Natalya. Naomi gets her win in her hometown. Feel-good moment. I just don't understand this. I mean, in all honesty, they've had people wrestle without defending the title for so long. It's one of those moments where it's like, why did they have to strip the title off of Naomi? Why couldn't they just have her hold the title all the way to WrestleMania and just... I just don't get it. It just made absolutely no sense to me. And it made even less sense to give the title to Alexa Bliss, because then Naomi would go on to win the title again here tonight. It's one of those head-scratching deals where it made absolutely no sense. I just don't understand it. I mean, it was a pretty good matchup, but in all honesty, it did really nothing. It really didn't do anything. The main event was Roman Reigns defeating The Undertaker in a no-holds-barred match. Last minute change that they decided to do, and really did nothing for them, really, because the match itself was, I can't even say it was decent. It was just okay. I mean, this was probably one of the most okay main events of all of WrestleMania. I mean, even, Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow actually had a pretty decent and a good main event matchup. But this match here between Roman Reigns and Undertaker was just okay. And the problem was that there were so many botches and there were so many spots where they just did not work out the way that they had wanted. Like, I guess there was a spot where Roman Reigns was supposed to counter into a tombstone and he couldn't get Undertaker up. There's a spot where it looked like Roman Reigns hit a Superman punch, but it looked like he missed, and Undertaker just looked dazed and confused. And then Roman Reigns did like a whole back and forth deal before hitting the final spear for the 1, 2, 3. This matchup just was not the best of their careers. But it does give Roman Reigns the big victory that he probably will need to fuel that heat to become the heel. So, all honesty, this matchup I think was probably one of, if not the worst match of the night. And I really hate to say that because of what happened after. Undertaker sat up, he put on his coat, he put on his hat, and then he proceeds to take off his gloves, his jacket, his hat, and lie it center in the middle of the ring. This was, assumingly, Undertaker's last match in WWE, in all of wrestling. It seems like he is going into retirement, which is very, very hard to see, because Undertaker was the last bit of kayfabe that was last kayfabe character, kayfabe wise, you name it. Undertaker was the last bit of the Attitude Era, basically. And now seems like he's done. I mean, he went to ringside, kissed his wife, went up the ramp. He would do the classic Undertaker deal where he would just lift up his arm and slowly just descend into the ground. The one thing that made this match unbearable was the fact that Jim Ross was on commentary. It was great to see that, especially after everything that he's been through with his wife passing. You know, it's just really good to see he still had that energy and he did his best. That's what matters. The one point that I made about this Undertaker match is that it may have not been the best, but you will always remember the moments that The Undertaker retired. He still had one of the longest reigning undefeated streaks in WrestleMania's history. Almost 30 plus years put into the business. And he gave so much. He gave his body, he gave his soul, he gave his career, he gave us the streak. He gave so much, and The Undertaker deserves so much respect for that. So, even though this is not how people really wanted him to go out, I'm just glad that he can finally retire and he can finally take better care of himself. Because there just came a point where it's like, dude, you need to retire, like, now. And now that he finally had this matchup, seemingly putting over Roman Reigns and giving him his heat, Undertaker can now say, that's it. I am done with wrestling. I've done everything I could. It's time for me to hang up the boots, the coat, the hat, everything, and say, you done good? It's time to finally enjoy life. Enjoy it with your kids, enjoy your wife, enjoy all that time. All in all, this WrestleMania was immensely better than last year. I will say that right now. There were some very low points, but despite that, it was still a very memorable, and I'm very grateful that I got the chance to see this WrestleMania. So that is it for the WrestleMania as well as NXT TakeOver Orlando reviews. All in all, NXT TakeOver Orlando had the win. I think that they delivered so much more to the cards, and they've really created some magic, and they've really created stars. WrestleMania would definitely be a close second. It's not as bad as what it has been in the past, where they've done NXT TakeOver show, and then it's just and then it's either blown away or just blown off by the following big event that WWE has. So all in all, this weekend was very, very memorable. Which brings me to the final part that I would like to talk about before I sign off. So, a lot of people know that we did do the whole bet between me and Spencer, and I will admit to everybody here that I lost. He was the better man tonight, and I'm going to Chop City coming up at the WPW Point Show as well as the ACW Oshkosh Show. So there will be more details and videos posted up on those days, so be sure to tune into that to see my chest just basically get murdered. But this also brings another very interesting point that I want to basically make. So, a lot of people know this, and I really don't really talk too much about it, but I do have a bit of a competitive edge, and I like to win. I like to really just enjoy, the victories, because I never really win too much. Even as a kid, I was never really that much of a winner. Not in my eyes. So every single time I lose, it does kind of hit me quite a bit. I really don't like losing. Especially when it's so consistent to the point where I'm losing all the time, because if I'm losing all the time, it's like, why even bother if I'm not going to win? And that's kind of where I'm at right now with these predictions, because ever since, I want to say, Money in the Bank last year, I've never won any kind of prediction year except for TNA Bound for Glory. That was it. Everything else was me losing. And it's just gotten to the point where I just can't deal with another loss right now. It's just gotten to the point where it's just stressing me out. I'm just not enjoying myself, and I'm just not feeling, I wouldn't say just not feeling the motivation. I'm not feeling the excitement of doing predictions. So I like to say that I hereby announce that until further notice, I am taking myself out of the prediction shows. You still have quite a few people in Chris Lockman, AJ Jensen, Max Beatty, Spencer Hart. You still got even more people, and they're going to try and get more people to join. So really, I'm not that big of a loss for this. So that is going to wrap it up for this edition of Elite Ringside Network. Of course, you guys can check us out on Facebook as well as Twitter at ER Network 24/7. Check out all of our shows that we have going on this week. Monday will be Raw Reaction with myself and AJ Jensen. Tuesday will be Smack Talk with Max Beatty and Spencer Hart. Wednesday will be Change the F Up with myself and Victory Bell. Thursday is the Smart Money Podcast with Chris Lockman and AJ Jensen. And then Friday will be another edition of What Did I Just Watch, featuring yours truly. And every Saturday, you guys check out Slack Off the Show. It's a lot of fun. It's really great just to hear them talking about, so many different things. Comic books, video games. It's a nerd's paradise, basically. So go check that out, you guys. It's awesome. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to this edition again. And talk to you guys tomorrow. WrestleMania was indeed memorable. All I have to say from this entire experience is thank you, Undertaker. Thank you. For the Elite Ringside Network, I'm Nate the Effing Great, signing off.